2 months later, my mom is murdered.
What? Well, allegedly by him.
Allegedly, yes,
Yes.
girl, allegedly, yes. You don't know that the choice that you're making is going to land you up almost dead. That the choice that you are making is going to have your mother murdered.
I mean, another person who's reading has obviously read. Who's listening? They've obviously read some of the things that he's done to you, and some of the things that he's done to others, i.e. Siam Lee, allegedly. So allegedly. Allegedly.
Hey dolls, welcome to Unfiltered with myself, Sihle Makhanya, where we have honest and unfiltered conversations with people from different walks of life where they share their stories without feeling judged or looked down upon. Enjoy.
Lucky. So I don't know where to start with you. I don't know if we should go all the way back to 2009 at Miss S18. Or Garnier being like one of the only black faces of Garnier back then in 2010, right?
This is why I say yon.
Yazin. Oh my
but
bad.
For one of the products.
One of my bad.
Yeah.
And
I think.
Yeah, I think. Let's start at matric. 2009. You win First Princess at Miss S18, and I remember that was the beginning of what we thought would be an international career within a matter of 2 years. Take me back there.
Yeah, girl, listen. Yeah, it was exciting times. I was always interested in modeling. Literally from a young age. I remember I used to watch Miss South Africa every year. Like I would never miss it. And although I think when I started watching Miss SA with mom when I was younger, that was the only type of modeling I understood. But as I grew up, I realized I'm not really into pageantry. I am more into like commercial modeling, photo shoots, photographic modeling, and acting as well. So that's how I ended up tapping into TV commercials. So yeah, it was very exciting. It was very exciting, and at the time, I really, when people are like, "Oh my gosh, this is such a big deal," and I'm just like, yeah. I think I did not understand the magnitude of it.
Yeah.
And possibly that might also be, I'm sure we will tap into this as the conversation continues, that might also be the reason why I feel like now looking back, I did not handle it in the extremity, if that is a word, that it was, which then meant that life as we know it happened.
Because what I remember so vividly, just to interject, when we entered, because I was also, obviously people don't know, I was also in Miss S18 in the top 12, and then Lucky made it to the top 3. And I didn't. It was like, it's okay,
why you
girl.
Say it like that? Okay.
It's okay, girl. It was Lucky, and a notable figure was Rolene Strauss, who Miss World 2014, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So, but anyways, So back then, I think, well, for me,
Wait.
what?
Ima.
What?
Can I interrupt you, Sihle?
Yeah.
Rolling was not in the top 3, believe it or not.
No. No, she wasn't.
She
She was in
was
the
not,
top
it
five.
was, oh,
Yes.
okay. I thought you were saying she was in the top 3. I was about to say, Gutsi, girl. However, though, it shows, Gutsi, we cannot judge what is happening now.
Never.
It's any unit what the future holds. Anyway, sorry, girl. Continue.
Yes, it's all good. So I remember, I vividly remember you guys preparing after winning. You guys preparing for the YoTV interviews, and there was just a huge hoo-ha and fiasco around that.
Fiasco. Fiasco is a disaster when I see.
Oh, my word. In English. Fiasco is in like there was a lot that was actually happening around that time. It was YoTV and I forgot what else you were doing. And then you started getting a lot of offers. I remember the one day you came back on a Monday and I was like, Lucky, how was your week? And you're like, girl, I got so many TV offers after the YoTV interview, right? So at that moment, what were your dreams, if you had any, and what was your plan, if you had a plan?
You know what? It's so funny, Sihle, because guys, a huge part of my life in general is a big blur. Like, it's crazy. It is a big blur. Yeah, it's a big blur. Even with the major things that happened, it's just a blur. And that's why I said to you, I think part of it is because I did not, yes, at the time it was exciting, but I did not understand the magnitude of it.
Okay.
The same way that people around me probably did. So at the time, I would say, my plans were to continue modeling, to eventually get into acting, but ultimately it was just to be in the entertainment industry. Okay. So that was the dream. And I also wanted to enter Miss South Africa one day and win. And then, yes. And then leveled, but the cookie did not crumble like that.
No, it didn't. Like it literally didn't. Kanye then happened. Kanye then happened. Let's talk about Kanye.
Yeah.
And then take me from what happens after Kanye.
Okay, so Kanye was like, it had nothing to do with, I remember Kanye happened the same year that I had entered Miss South Africa. Because I remember I got the call that I'd made it into, in 2012. In 2012, yes. They were shooting the whole Road to Miss South Africa reality show thing that was airing leading up to the finale.
Yeah.
So I remember I got the call that I'd made it into that round of being shot and the countdown happening when I was at the casting in Joburg for Kanye. So yeah, so that's why I can connect the two and be sure that even though my life is a bit of a haze, that it happened in the same year.
Yes.
So that was a normal modeling job. It was a normal casting. It had nothing to do with what I've done in the past. None of that. It was just, okay, this is the casting brief. My agency in Durban sent a video of me auditioning for it, and then they shortlisted, and then they flew us to Joburg so that Bezosbona and made the final pick. And then so that happened. That was awesome. That was great. I was also in my final year.
And then And then
where do I even begin?
what
It is such
happened?
now this is the fiasco. What I'm about to tell you is the fiasco, girl. So, yo, ngoba siyahleka manje, but yo, it was a lot. It was a lot. So okay, so I graduated, 2012 was my final year in varsity. So I graduated and see, my move to Joburg was because of a human being, right?
Okay.
And I've never told, no one knows about this, mind you. No one knows about this. So it was because of a human being. So you're also going to get shocked with everybody right now, girl.
Okay.
Who had promised. So I was doing a degree in geography and environmental management at UKZN.
Yes.
So I met, this is all such a mess, guys. So I met this guy at the airport coming back from the Garnier casting in Joburg. So I met him at the airport in Durban.
Okay.
Right? And girl, it's the tea. Okay. It's the tea for me. Imagine my own tea. So this man, he's a man, like an old man. He really, like, I mean, I've never, because I'm a female, obviously I will be interested in boys or guys or whatever. But I've never been the type of person to be like, hey, take me, this is me, I am yours forevermore. Yes. No, I've you need to work.
Yes, and you're attractive and you're a model, so yeah.
Oh, stop it. So thank you, girl, thank you. So I met this guy and and at that time it was during BlackBerry. So I gave him my BBM pin. And okay, cool. So we start talking on BBM and he starts telling me what he does, and he does projects, this and that. Ciao. He does projects and wazana with the chairperson of Shell, and because this is the degree I've been doing. No, that's the thing.
Okay.
The thing was, I met this person who seems like, because once we started talking, it didn't seem like he wants anything from me.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like, oh, snap.
Just an ordinary.
So this is what you do. Yeah. So this is what you do. Ngazana no chairperson Weshell, because this is your degree, I can speak to him for you, and you guys can meet in Kulume, and and perhaps you can work somewhere within the industry as an environmental manager, or anything that has to do with the environment. Girl. It never happened.
What?
When I'm coming with more. So he then he started giving me stories, because now I've moved to Joburg, and I'm like, okay, I'm here now. So,
dude,
and then
where's the tip?
And Apudi was like, no, like I know, there was just story after story after story. That was my introduction to Joburg, girl. But see, messy in these streets. There are people who will sell you the stars and the moon and promise you things because they want something from you. And we all know what that is.
Exactly.
So now, because he didn't get the thing from me, he literally, he ghosted me. He disappeared. I'm in Joburg now. Oh, before he ghosted me, we would start going to meetings and things, and he was part of he wanted me to come with him to his lawyers because there was some court case that was going on with the Free State. And
were you not
in my head
out that he wants you to go
Pardon?
to a court case with him?
Was I not
weirded out, or thought something was strange?
well, I did, but like I was so naive, Sihle. Like I was so naive. And it wasn't the actual court case. That was while he was going to see the attorneys. So he was like, he wants me to get used to, you know, ngingalokhu ngihlele ekhaya. So for now, this was his story. For now, I can work as like his PA. You know, I can
How
take
old were
notes.
you, like,
And I'm like, it's not what I came here for.
Well, how old were you then? Like 20?
I was 21, 22.
Okay. Yeah.
And Abudi was probably like 189.
Not 100, child.
Gosh. So I did find it strange, but like I said, I was very naive, and I think that was the foundation that God was setting of ukuthi lalela ke baby girl kunje emhlabeni, you know, because now I'm in Joburg. And this guy has disappeared. I'm staying with a friend of mine, and she's just like, child, like, what's going on with your, like, you know, what's going on, you know? And I'm just like, I don't know. The guy has disappeared. No. And then everything just went south from there. And I think I was so afraid to go back home because, you know, I had told my parents, so let's see, this is what I'm going to do in Joburg, and our next thing, and then I decided to go back. Yeah, literally nothing. And then I decided to go back home September of the same year, September or October of the same year. And that was the year that I was diagnosed with chronic depression. And I couldn't for the life of me understand where it was coming from. And it was a recent revelation as to where it was coming from, because I was looking at my life and just looking at, you know, Uma was very, she was a value-based person, you know, she was a very moral person. She was a good person. And she did her best to raise me. And she was a lady. And, you know, and I'm looking at the things that I ended up involved in and who raised me, and I'm like, it doesn't make sense. You know, it doesn't make sense. God, can you make it make sense? Like, what is going on? And also, I said to you earlier that a lot of my life was a bit of a blur. Like a blur. A blur. Like I was living, things were happening, but yeah, I think child, you know, I think even to some extent, I was taking what's English? I was taking it for granted also, but not consciously. It was probably a subconscious thing. Because of things that have happened in the past. So recently, when I really sat down with myself, because now I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, okay, nothing just happens, you know? So I need to
wait before we
you want us to email?
Before we talk about now in your life, right? I think for me, the one thing that you touched on that really highlighted to me is how much when you are a woman, especially when you're young and you are vulnerable, men, especially older men, they try to find ways and schemes to take advantage of your vulnerability, right? And I think that's what happened to you. Luckily, when you didn't fall in the trap of sleeping with the guy, you know, because even if you would have slept with him, like he still was gonna ghost you. That's the reality. Right? So then things don't work out in Joburg. You move back to KZN, and then how do you meet Psycho.
Oh, child, I was coming there.
Okay, my
I
bad.
just wanted to highlight something with
Mm,
regards to my in the cloudedness, hazy, like what the hell is going on? I'm alive. I'm going through the motions. Everything
mm,
is happening, but I'm not really understanding what's going on. And that dated back to when I was 4 years old,
mm.
when so I was molested when I was 4.
Oh,
And
sorry.
victims of sexual, and no one knew, even my family, they don't know about it.
Mm,
And victims of sexual assault, especially, I mean, your innocence is taken from you at the age of 4, and you don't know what the hell is going on. And
mm,
this person that is assaulting you is telling you that if you tell anyone, you're going to be in trouble. Now, imagine you're innocent, this is wrong, and you go through life. I think it's almost like I'm still trying to make sense of the connection, but I think the thing that makes sense to me most right now in my brain is that I I then started living a life of not really understanding myself as valuable, or
mm,
seeing myself as valuable.
mm,
So at the conscious level, and at the I'm speaking to Sihle right now, therefore, Sihle, I am telling you that I am valuable, I am worthy, I am this, I am that.
just because it
Subconsciously, that
sounds
wasn't the
good. It
case.
sounds good.
It sounds good, and also I thought I was. So I
Yeah,
thought I was, because that's how I was brought up, remember? Because
yeah,
that is the way that my mother raised me. But subconsciously, because of this thing that happened ages ago, I did not see myself as valuable, and I did not know that, which makes sense as to why growing up, as much as major things would happen, I'd still I wouldn't understand how big this is, and
yeah.
maybe I would mishandle it, or I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, I understand.
So yeah, so it was this is a revelation I got literally
Recently. And
end of last year.
have
So
you have you dealt with the trauma of being molested? And is it like, were you molested by, if you don't mind me asking, were you molested by someone within your family?
yeah,
Okay,
there's
and
someone within my family.
have you gotten an opportunity to confront the person or to speak about it, or is it just like the typical black? I mean, because your story, like, it happens in almost every black,
Everywhere,
yeah, like
everywhere.
children, girls get
Mm,
molested, actually even boys get molested, and if you say,
mm.
or if you mention that, oh, I got molested, it's like swept under the carpet, right? With
It
you
can't be a
though,
thing.
how was it? And how do you feel, like you're saying that you feel it's part of the reason why you haven't handled your things, or your blessings well in the past? But outside of that, do you also feel like your family has either been supportive or been dismissive about it?
They did not know. Nobody, no one in my family knows about it. See there, this is breaking news.
Are you ready? Are you ready for when they watch this, for them to know? And like, how do you think that they'll react?
Um, you know what? I think I'm at a point in my, okay, the first thing is that God has been on my case
Yeah.
for the past 2 months, saying that you need to deal with this. You need to deal with this. So much so that I've started to actively seek therapy towards that incident,
Mm,
because it also ties in with why I was eventually diagnosed with chronic depression when I was
mm,
raised so well. It didn't make
yeah.
sense. Like, where's this coming from, So, with regards to people reacting, I did not say who it is, but it did happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just tired of not being able to speak my truth, because
Yeah.
I think that's another thing that it did, that it caused me growing up to just not speak.
Mm.
I was able to speak. I was able to articulate myself in certain things, but there are things that we are apparently not supposed to delve into. And if my truth is that this is what happened, and the result of that led to a thought process of this and this and that led me to this, then it's something that might help someone else.
That's very, very
so
true.
It's not even a me thing now. It's not about me anymore. So that's why, so that's why I was saying that God has been on my case. Like,
and you have a daughter.
Like,
you have a daughter. How are
also,
you?
that's another thing.
Does it not trigger you having a daughter? Because I mean, I've spoken to also a couple of either it's friends or colleagues who have either been molested or raped as children, right? And a lot of them always mention that they have this fear that the same thing that happened to them will happen to their daughters. So for you, because you haven't dealt with it, does it not trigger you as well with her?
It does. I'm very protective of Azania, but I feel like some of these things are like generational curses. So if into yenzeka, Zisha, generational curses. So if it happened to
Mom,
me, Shruti, it's going to happen to Inganzake. So my thing is that I need to be intentional with my relationship with God, and I need to break those generational curses. And of course, as much as the fear is there, it's I think I've put my trust more in God that it's not going to happen. And the only way it is not going to happen is if I speak about it. Because if I speak about it, then more people come out. Because as you say now, Wuti, it's everywhere. I don't know how many people I have told this in confidence, and they're like, oh, me too. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And and people don't understand the impacts that this has as an adult in your adult life, even growing up, even the way you see yourself, even the way you see the world. So it has to be done, girl. It has to be done.
Do you feel like the you being molested is what led you into the arms of the man that you're now going to tell me about?
Cray.
Yes.
That cray guy.
Cray guy.
Mr. Cray.
Yes.
Part of it.
Okay, because how did you meet him? How did you meet him? Like, because even with the guy that you met at the airport, right? My paranoid behind, I firstly would not even speak to a random old guy at the airport. Like, but that's because sometimes I come across as very, very cold, right? Especially towards men. I'm not trusting towards men, right? So when you mention now the fact that you got molested and you said that it's a family member, so obviously I'm assuming, right, you can correct me, there's a part of you that is still that little girl that is trusting of that male figure that was in your family, in your life. So when a man comes in your mind, somehow it links to that, right? Then
not consciously, but it's a thing. It's a thing. And also not just that. I think another aspect that we could possibly explore is that I did not see myself properly, right? Because of what happened. Because my self-worth was stripped away from me, right? And I had to grow up consciously thinking I'm valuable, but subconsciously, because I get it isn't that happen in our subconscious mind sometimes will manifest through actions.
Yeah.
Right. So my actions were saying, girl, you don't value yourself. But mina ngomlomo wami ngithi I value
I value
myself.
myself.
So
Yeah.
with what you're saying, with Psycho, Cray, Mr. Cray. You guys know about siyahleka ngisho isidumbuzelela. I think and then there's also being too nice. I'm just too nice.
Yeah.
Well, was not anymore.
Yeah.
No time for that. God was like, you need to stop doing that, honey.
Yeah.
So there was also the element of being just too nice,
Too nice.
because I did not want to be seen as Tshela,
Yeah.
because of everything that has happened,
yeah.
the magnitude of things that have happened. So in my mind, I would downplay everything, the Miss SA-teens, the Garniers, the this, the that.
Yeah.
I would downplay it in my head.
Yeah.
And because it's downplayed in my head, I wouldn't put myself on a pedestal, which I think is it's a good thing, but it's not good if that are able to see that in you and be able to use it to their advantage. Yeah, so it's a good trait to have, but it must have boundaries at the same time.
Yeah.
So with Psycho. Where do I begin?
Right at the
I
top.
think the reason why.
Mm-hmm. How you guys met.
We met. Here's another thing. Like, I don't know how viewers will view this, because no, actually, there's nothing wrong with it.
No,
anyway,
there's nothing wrong, girl.
So no, either way, things also it's what it is. So I was in varsity when this random guy starts texting me, inboxing me on Facebook, right? But I had so many things going, and he was offering me a job. And I'm like, Facebook for a while. And also I'm busy. Like, nobody got the time, you know? He'd disappear and come back again, disappear and come. Like, I had too much going on in my life to be, which is still the case, Manja. That's why I don't want a 9-to-5 job. Like, there's just too much going on. And the type of jobs I am interested in do not, so being in the entertainment industry, being a model, this and that, it's hard to be in a 9-to-5 and also be able to do that and thrive.
Yeah.
So vetted was an issue, vetted from the get-go. I need to now wake up from res and go to this office job. No. And then when do I go for castings? When do I go for shoots? When do I do this? When do I do that? It just didn't make sense to me. So he would disappear and then come again, disappear and then come again. And then I remember coming back from shooting Garnier. Wait, yes, I think I was coming back from shooting Garnier. And they had I found guys. I found my lace wigs, and the only place that was selling hair at the time was the place in Durban.
Yes.
And well, Durban, and there was one in Joburg. But those were the most popular ones, and the hair was ridiculously expensive.
Yes.
So I have an entrepreneurial mind. So I started researching. I was like, wait, I can sell hair that, and also I think even at the time I could have really, I knew some price army, but not as much as them.
Yeah.
So the amount you were buying the hair from, the hair for. And I'm looking at the price they're selling for, I was like, people are getting ripped off in these streets,
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to create a boutique for myself, for people to get affordable hair, right? And it was a proper place in China where I was going to import from, and I started testing the waters and I started posting about it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Ha! Lo and behold, my guy says.
Guess who is the savior of the day?
Hey now!
Hey.
And it's like, oh, so you are also an entrepreneur. And I admitted that was after I came back from Joburg.
Okay.
Right. So that was end of 2013. It's like,
Yes.
oh, okay. So you're also an entrepreneur. Okay. Come on out there in these streets.
Yes.
Listen, I can invest in your business.
Okay, Mr. Moneybags.
Yeah. So you guys. So I'm kind of a bit hesitant, but eventually I was like, okay, but like I'm saying I want to do this, and here's a person saying they want to invest. Why would I say no? Why should I say no? And nangempela, we meet up, we set up a meeting, we meet up, and it was a serious business meeting. Like, we are meeting physically, you know. It was probably 4 or 5 serious meetings. And then I'm always talking to this person and he starts telling me about his undying love for me. Oh, no, we've bought her. Canopy. Everything is there. Oh, it's in process. What do you think this is?
Okay.
No, yes, he's delivering. So it's not even a matter of you being dodgy. No, sorry. It's not even a matter of you being dodgy. So, yeah, so I don't know. I think somewhere along the line, I ended up falling as well. But I feel like his level of toxicity, manje, at first glance, and it's just like, sounds like toxic shake to me.
Like, what was he doing? Like, then what were his conversations with you, and how was he like, and what was he like basically as a guy asking you out of a pursuer?
Okay, so he love bombed the living daylights out of me. So he's a narcissist, essentially. This is now after we broke up, after all the nonsense I'm still gonna share happened, and I was like, this cannot be a human being. This is an alien. I went onto Google and during the relationship.
Like when he was asking you out, when he was love bombing you, like what would he do?
Okay, so he would things like I support you so much that let's go and visit an actual care making plant in China, because we are building this to child.
And you would go.
At that time, vele ayisiqalile relationship nyana. But the love, what I mean by love bombing is that he literally becomes everything that you want in a man. So he through conversation, he will try find things out about you, and vele they are attracted to certain types of people. So they don't just, so if they push at the limits, they then push it more and push it more and push it more. So because I was at the time still operating from a place of brokenness, still operating from a place of being naive also, I didn't see what he was trying to do. Like, was information that they have no business knowing about, but because Use created this very trusting relationship, because now we are share angithi. It's like oh, okay, I can be comfortable around this person. And also, like narcissists are literally at the beginning stages of the relationship, are literally like no man you've ever been with in your life, because, or woman, because you can also get a female narcissist.
Yeah.
Because that's how good they are at finding out what you like and becoming that.
Oh
So
my
he
gosh.
became everything I wanted, basically.
Yeah.
It's
And
sick. It's crazy.
Wow, I remember. Okay, now we get into the juicy part. Lalela, I remember the one day very vividly. I remember the one day you had posted, like, after a while, someone would like he's doing well modeling, well, like he posts that she's engaged, right? So I'm like, okay. And at the time, I think our friendship, like, we weren't as tight as what we were in high school. You were tight with another friend of mine, Ulinde. And I called Ulinde and I'm like, how? Oh, like he's engaged. She's like, oh, yes, so like he's engaged, etc. So I'm like, oh, cool. Aibo, Lucky is living in this huge mansion in Hillcrest. I'm like,
girl.
yeah, I'm like, Lucky is driving
the devil's work,
I'm like, hey, Lucky, you are living the dream. Like, I was like, yo, lapho thina siyagowisha, we invited we are gowishing, in the midst of gowishing.
Oh,
Tell
Lord.
me, please, behind the scenes, behind the photos of,
you know what?
the Mercedes Benzes, the going.
I need to get comfy for this.
Listen, like you, for me, right, as someone who was looking from the outside, you literally had a perfect life, because you had this supportive partner who was constantly writing about you on social media, constantly posting about your achievements, showing us the things that he's buying for you behind the scenes with
excuse me. Oh, child. Behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, it was very, at the beginning, like I said, it was awesome. But that's because he became exactly what I want, right? Now, when he started, because this is the, so narcissists operate in levels. So there's the beginning stage, which is the stage where they literally make you feel like you are the best thing on the planet. And then there is the devaluation stage, and then the discard stage. So during so after they are done showing you, I'm the best man you've ever had, that's when they start pulling away. And then it's a constant fight victim to try and get that person back. It's like, no, man, but I know there's somewhere in there. So it becomes a thing of, when they act out, everything is your fault. When they cheat, everything is your fault. It becomes very toxic and abusive. So behind this, like, another element of behind the scenes was that, as much as uposta uguti, he's so proud of my achievements, etc., in my face, he's telling me that I'm nothing. He's telling me that I think, yeah, guys, I'm nothing but a Barbie doll. Why do men look at me? I post on social media because I want men to look at me. Just the opposite of what he, like you say, you would see his posts. So the complete opposite of that. And then another thing that bothered him is that, like me, I'm not a materialistic person, like the least. Like, it's bad. Like, as long as writes la. So it bothered him that, because at that point I had started I went back to varsity to do my master's, and that bothered him to the point that there was a time where he said he's not going to pay for my studies, and I was like, that's fine. I'll pay for my own studies. It's okay, you know, because I was getting money from modeling, right? So it bothered him when it comes to material things, and that I'm not wowed by the material things, that it's, oh, you drive a Merc. Yeah. And, you know, it's not a thing. It wasn't a thing for me. So it really, really bothered him. And what else happened behind? Oh, and then of course there was the abuse. Yeah, a lot and lots of physical abuse. There was a konke, mntase, konke. He even tried me financial. I was like, child, you're not taking my card. If you want my card, you need to give me your card. I swap penny.
Gave you.
No, my card, like my card. Yeah, I've never even had access to his things, his bank account or anything of that sort. So now I'm paying for my fees at school, right? Varsity, noga. Excuse me. Excuse me. So for you to now say to me that, for you to come and say to me, ukuthi ufuna ukuthatha ikhadi lami lihlale kuwena, why? Make it make sense, you know?
Yes.
So yeah, and that bothered him quite a lot. It was like, oh, shuthi angimboni as a husband. I'm like, no, I need this money, because also, as much as he was showing what he does all these elaborate things for me, he was actually really a very stingy person. So it's almost like I have to beg for things, you know, and I never did. Even though that's what he wanted, it bothered him that I didn't. So he thought now taking away my financial freedom will make me do that. And that's where things literally then spiraled out of control. And the girl landed up in hospital with a broken ankle. He had already gotten...
You're not telling me like what he was doing, ne? You're not telling me.
Okay.
The physical abuse, because another person who's reading has obviously read, who's listening, they've obviously read some of the things that he's done to you, you know, and some of the things that he's done to others, i.e. Siam Lee, allegedly. So allegedly. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Like what was he doing? And the reason why I want you to be explicit is because there is this, and I'm not saying that all wealthy men or rich men or men who portray themselves to be rich or wealthy are like this, but the one thing that I've noticed from like just reading and listening to other women's stories is that the moment they almost become like your savior, then they become like excruciatingly physically abusive. You know? So like,
yeah.
How did Lucky get to a point where her ankle is broken and she's told by a doctor that she might not be able to walk again, or she might not be able to like function like a normal human again? How do we get there?
Okay. So it starts with okay, now you are making me dig deep. Let's see. But I will try to be as accurate as possible. So it'll start with small things like, why did you post that on social media? Right? And when you try to explain, but there's what's in a corner, it's nothing. Like, it's not posting, man.
It's not that
I had
deep.
posted Uguti. Yeah, I had posted Uguti. Something I can't remember the exact wording, but something about Uguti. We all climb the ladder of life, cutting a funny, but at the end of it all, we'll something positive.
Yeah.
And I was offended, and I was like, "But why? Why is this? What should have been my first red flag? Well, with the girl,
yeah.
you better. Why is this person offended by this? You know?"
Yeah.
But like I said, at that time, he had made like he had started pulling away. So when when I posted that, he then he made me believe in my head, even though I know it wasn't the thing, ukuthi Leah posted because it has something to do with him. There's some shade and I'm like, I'm saying ukuthi, which really should have been a red flag, because actually I'm only thinking about this now. Ukuthi, I think for him, because people like this have a very low self-esteem also. I think in his head, he was thinking, Uguti, oh, okay, so I'm starting to treat her some type of way. And she's basically saying, Uguti, even though I have made it, I being him, now one day she's going to rise above this.
And he doesn't want that.
You know, and no, for what?
No, yeah.
Yeah. So it starts with small things like that, and then it just escalates. I remember he kicked me out of what's the Palazzo Hotel in Monte Casino. Yeah, guys. Ngo-3 ekuseni. Yeah. Because I was chatting to so we got to Joburg at around Konumshinaya Zolanda for his factory, blah blah blah. So we drove with my friend ex-friend, but friend, to Joburg, Ndawonye. And guys, and I think Safika around 9. So there's this friend of mine that I have, what I call, who just happens to be a guy. And guys, when I'm very free-spirited, and I'm free-spirited, and the same light, I allow you to be free-spirited. And I think that's because Nyazi, if I have a guy friend, that's what it is. It's a guy friend. So if now you have a female friend, I will believe that that's what it is. It's a female friend. So there's no dodginess, So anyway, I told this guy friend of mine that, okay, we just got to Joburg with hubby. Maybe you can come by tomorrow and I can introduce you guys, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so, and the reason why I was doing it, which was so stupid, the reason why I was doing that, so what I was doing, let me tell you what I was doing first. So I was chatting and pretending like I'm doing something dodgy. The reason why I was doing that was because he was on his phone and I could see he's being dodgy.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, if you can do it, so can I. But I really wasn't being dodgy. Yeah. I was pretending to be so that he can stop what he's doing. And then he's like, let your phone. I'm like, oh, all right. So I delete the messages because I'm trying to, no, it hadn't happened. So I delete the messages and I deleted them because, because I said to the guy towards the end of the conversation, I think he said, Beshwabula though. And I was like, I'll always love you, or something along those lines, but in a very whatever type of way. And and then I deleted the messages because when he said, let me see, I deleted them. And I was like, okay, he's not responding, because I was just like, okay. Kanti uzorespond uAbuti ifoni isaku Abuti cray. I get there's no conversation now. So there's no context, yeah? His response was, you know I will always love you too. Girl.
Obviously. Oh, she had me go 3x.
Child. No, it was a lot. It was a lot. So it was him going crazy from that time until 3. So he was a lot. Like, let me imitate him. He would say things like, yeah, I mean,
That guy was like,
I'm being dead serious. He was sick, bro. He was sick.
I remember the one time.
He was sick.
I remember the one time, like, all of this is happening in your life, and I'm in varsity. Things are falling apart for me, you know. just in life, you know, things are falling apart for me, you know, trying to figure myself out. And I think I just started doing my internship in KZN, and then you get injured, right? When you get into hospital, and then I think what happened, man? I think after you got injured, then why I said the whole psychoness of taking over your Facebook account, right? And
he hadn't done it. There's a chain of events. Yeah. Before that, so when you are going ahead of yourself in this story. Okay, let me hurry up. Okay, so timeline was that, so I landed in hospital that same night. My mom's car is burned. 2 months later, my mom is murdered.
What? Well, allegedly by him.
Allegedly. Yes, girl. Allegedly. Yes. So Sandiskati, and then Kuhambiskati, I got sent hitmen. I had a gun to my head, it wouldn't go off. It was terrible, yes. And that's when I went back to carry on with my master's. After the whole hitman attack, they were like, child,
bye-bye.
You better disappear. So the whole Facebook thing happened after I had disappeared, because even though he couldn't see me, I was still doing things in Maritzburg. So I was part of this modeling academy where I was helping the girls with basically everything that I've learned in modeling. So the papers, he would see that in the papers, and I think it annoyed him. Heck, what the hell? I've tried everything in my power to destroy this person, and here they are still doing the damn thing.
Yes.
Like, what the hell? Like, what the hell? And now I can't find her physically to kill her.
Yeah.
Because that's when the Facebook saga happened. That's when he went to the Natal Witness, page 3, baby girl, this big, saying that I earn a non-dindwa grooming school.
Non-dindwa grooming. Can I just tell you that I never told you this. When he was looking for you, I didn't know he was looking for you. When he was looking for you, because he knew that we were friends, and he inboxed me, right? Very weirdly, I still have the inbox messages. When I went through it after you told me,
let us know.
I think I still have them. And one was Uguti, and have I spoken to you? And I was like, no, I haven't, you know. And he's like, no, he can't seem to get a hold of you, you know. So I was worried, like I was genuinely worried, like, oh my word, where's Lucky? You know, because it's like, I don't know where Lucky is. And because I didn't know what was going on.
I was running from him.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, where is Lucky? So I asked Ulindelwa, and I asked Tuso, and Tuso was like, do not tell that guy anything about Lucky. So then I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna shut my mouth, and I kept quiet. Then the newspaper thing happened. Then I was like, what the hell is going on?
The girl then did,
Like,
went and opened a brothel.
a brothel, you know?
Madam, I'm a madam.
Like, and a whole website on fake things about you, right?
Child. Also, say, like, why would I do that to myself?
Like,
Because that's what he was insinuating, that I'm the one that's writing. He's writing as me.
as you,
Which was
yes,
so
she was writing
stupid.
as you. Hibo.
I'm like,
And he went as far as, I remember, he went as far as when it got released, and then he released a status as if it's you writing that, hi guys, I've opened up a Miss Nondindwa, whatever. That's when I was like, cut. Something is wrong, like, well, then I went on, I responded, I went on the status and I'm like, Lucky, this is not you. If you need help, please inbox me. I'm not happy with what's going on. He goes and he inboxes as you.
Are you serious? Saying what?
As you. And says, Lucky is this and that. You don't know what I've done, as if I don't know what I've done as in what you've done. And I'm like, then it starts trending. We need to unfriend this account of yours. That account. Person starts going crazy. Person then goes onto his Facebook account. Person inboxes me on his Facebook account telling me that I don't know what you have been up to. I was like, dude, you're crazy. Like, and I didn't even know what was going on. I was like, dude, you're crazy. Like, no. And I was like, where the hell is Lucky?
Let's start there. Okay, fine. Like,
Lucky, and like,
fam. Like 4 years of my life just went into, I had to hide because I was going to die. Like, after that gun did not go off, I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. I had to hide. So I was hiding.
The police, what are they doing?
Oh,
useless.
Amaphoyisa ayengibuza ukuthi wena umenzeni, ayengibuza ukuthi mangabe ngibatshela ukuthi he's following me, he's right here right now outside, ngiyambona, and they'd be like, no, but he told us he's away on a business meeting. I'm like, I'm telling you, he's here.
He's right here.
They'd be like, he's here, ngiyamtshela ukuthi ngiyambuka njengamanje, he's stalking me. And they'd be like, no, one cop even said to me, they've tried everything with this guy. I don't know what trying is, but I need to get myself a gun and deal with him. But I must make sure it doesn't come back to me. They were like, so I was like, guys, you're supposed to be protecting me. What in the actualization of actualizing the situation?
And then fast forward, may her soul rest in peace. Siam Lee.
Child. And that was 7 months after I went crazy on social media saying, if nothing is done with this guy, someone's going to die. It might not be me because he can't find me, but somebody's going to die. And okay.
Like, I think for me, when it comes to you, Lucky, and your story, the one thing that I'm sorry for laughing like this, the one thing that your story taught me, and it always reminds me, is number one, to never look at things online and see it as fact, right? And then secondly, your story has shown me that no matter what you go through, you're able to rebuild yourself. Because right now, like, tell the people what you're doing after this whole ordeal.
Okay, well, getting back into the swing of things is really difficult because I get in modeling, um, the modeling industry in one way, and then I return. I'm just like, what the hell just happened here? Like, it's completely different. There's influencers now. There's this, and I'm just like, whoa, what is an influencer? You know. So it took a lot for me to have to rebuild from that. But I just told myself, I would say no. But and I'm still in the process of rebuilding. I've just been very intentional with my relationship with God, and yeah, a lot has been revealed empilweni yami with regards to why things had to happen. Because I mean, fine, vele isn't doesn't that because of our choices, but you don't know that the choice that you're making is going to land you up almost dead, that the choice that you are making is going to have your mother murdered. But because we serve a God who makes everything work together for our good, those are the things. I'm not going to say what it is here during the people, but I've told you about it. But mind you, I'm using those very things that happened to me to for the good, for the good, which is weird because especially with men, I'm not supposed to that's exactly but that's exactly where I want, that's the gender I want to tackle the most, more than anything.
Oh wow. Like I feel like with all of that, for you just as a person, what do you feel like, because you're very spiritual and you have a huge faith in God, I want to know, looking back, what do you think that God was trying to teach you in that season of your life? Because it, like you said earlier, it all ties in from when you were molested to the relationship with the guy that like ghosted you, who promised you the stars and the moon and did nothing, to Psychoville, to the to the smiley face Lucky now. Like, what do you feel? What do you feel like God was trying to teach you so that you can be who you are now?
Okay, he was definitely trying to knock all that naivety out of me because child, like he done did knocked it out.
Yep.
And also just to make me understand, just because I'm a good person and just because with every relationship I get myself into, whether it's a friendship, romantic relationship, it's because I am being genuine and I seek together. So he was showing me that not everyone is like that, child. Don't think that just because you think like that you're going to get the same in return. That there are people that will prey on people like you for the purposes of breaking them, and that's it. There's literally nothing else. There's no reason behind it. And just nje ukuthi things, we can't always blame ourselves for the things that we do. We need to be abantu that are able to remove themselves from shame, because that was the biggest drive, the shame. And also going back right to the molestation, is shame that was making me feel all the things that I was feeling. So that shame, because the more I feel the shame, the more that the things that I'm doing are manifesting into things that will cause more shame. So I think the one thing that God highlighted to me was that as much as engayikondoni izinto engasile, but we need to understand that we are human, and operating from a place of shame will not take you forward at all. So he wants me to be the instrument, as one of the things that he wants me to do in telling my story. The girl was on a first name basis with a pharmacist. Imithi yokulala, amaphilisi okulala, and ngangaphuza ekuseni awu-4. Half a tablet will knock a horse down. half a tablet, and that's me the whole day. And I'm operating, I'm alive, I'm going to things, I'm doing
You
things.
were
But
addicted,
that's
Lucky.
because because I was trying to numb things. I don't think it was addiction. It wasn't, I didn't have to go through a program to, it was just ukuthi I'm numbing myself, and
Yeah.
that's that.
Oh
Yeah.
my
So
gosh.
with all that, and this was the one thing that I always said, this is something that I will never share with anyone. But God was like, but that's what you're supposed to share, because
That
so
girl,
many
you
people
have
are
to share
going through
that.
it.
Yes, yes. And
Yeah.
I think, remember, we always talk about this, is that the reason why we end up repeating the same mistakes over and over again is because my mom will get angry at me for saying this, but I feel like their generation, our parents' generation, and the generation before that, and how their relationship with God has always been just to hide things. Like, you go through something and hide it, and then it's almost like it's a shame, you know. Whereas
It never
if
happened.
exactly, you know, whereas if we are able to speak openly about the things that we've gone through, then another person can be like, oh my gosh, like I can easily relate with Ulaki, or relate with Usihle. Do you get what I'm saying?
I get you. It removes the truth out of it if
Mm,
ungashare yonke into. Because
exactly.
then you are ultimately saying that because Ulaki ended up taking over the counter sleeping tablets, drinking her head into I don't know, a bonkery.
Mm,
Um, Shruti, you are saying that if now Seth is going through that,
mm-hmm.
and like he's out of it, Usihle will now suffer not knowing that there's a person who went through the exact same
Same
thing that
thing.
she is
Yeah,
going through, and this person is now out of it, and they are doing great things with what happened. You know,
exactly.
they are literally spreading love and sunshine and light all over the show. So
Yeah,
now if Usihle knows ukuthi, oh snap, this can't be this, like the talks that I've been to, or that I've done, people say I'm lying. I
yeah,
watch too many movies. Like Johnny, you can't have gone through all of that and still look like this, which I still don't
yeah.
know what this is, but
Gorgeous and sexy
that
and
just
Victoria's Secret
shows
model. That's what you look like.
how stuff it. I like it.
Yes.
So yeah, it's important that we share everything, because that's what Unkulunkulu wants. That's what the Holy Spirit wants. That's what Jesus wants, to share truth. You can't change unless you know the truth. There
Yeah,
needs to be truth.
yeah, yeah. So I
And
mean,
sometimes the truth is harsh.
that's very, very true. So I think I don't know, like I feel like for me, Lucky, I always tell this to you. I'm very proud of you for how for how you have been able to share your story, um, and how you've been able to just get through what you've gone through, and be strong enough to be used by God. Because I'm telling you right now, there are people out there who have lost their moms because of their former partners, and they're breaking apart, and they don't know what to do, because they're carrying almost like the guilt of, if I hadn't been with that person, then my mom would be here, or things would be different, but you're here. You've got Aza, you are striving, you are like this phenomenal woman that is bringing change to people, right? Um, the one thing that I would like to know, just in closing, from you, is if there is one thing that you would like your daughter and her daughter and daughters after that to know and be aware of, what would it be? And to learn from you, what would it be?
Miss South Africa question.
Lalet, it's either if you get this right, you get the crown.
Hey girl, hey girl, hey girl. Sure, that's okay. So what I would want as like the generations after this, my generations after this, after me, your English guys, I would want them to know that, you know, it's important to have boundaries. Be an awesome person, be great, but boundaries are so important because our boundaries just stop certain things from happening. You know, another thing that I would share with them is the importance of loving themselves. Self-love is so important because boundaries, self-love, I mean, those things make sure ukuthi khona izinto that you do not engage in, that you do not do. And also, I just want to align them with what it means to be in a relationship with God and make them understand that, and that we don't serve a God who wants to sweep things under the carpet. We serve a God who wants things to be revealed, because how do you fix something that is not revealed? So I would encourage them to just talk. If there's an issue, talk. If there's something that has happened to you, talk, because talking means that you don't get to carry certain things with you where they don't need to go with you. You know, you leave them there at the point where you talk about them. And yeah, just peace. I mean, that's why I want to work with men. It's like I might not live to see it, but I really want a peaceful society. Like, there's so much noise right now in society, men against women. It's a mess. It's a mess. And I think if we need to preach peace, but we can't do that unless we get to the root of what the actual problem is. So yeah, I want my generations to come to live in a peaceful society where they aren't bickering and going back and forth about izinto that we are carrying that are really not even, we did not create them. We inherited them. Because if they are inherited. They come from social constructs. They come from all sorts of nonsense. Yeah, all sorts of nonsense that doesn't make sense. And we need to understand ukuthi abantu bafila kanjani and what is the root of those feelings, especially men. I really want to but but I really want to work with men, because no person wakes up one day and decides they want to be abusive. So we need to get to the root of, and also the boy child is ignored in society. So we need to go to the root. But yes, ultimately, those four things: boundaries, self-love, love the whole planet, and peace. Just be at peace. Be a peaceful human being.
And then when it comes to mental health, because I'm very big on that as I guess an overcomer in depression, and you also as well. What would you like to say to anyone who has any mental health struggles right now?
Yeah, it's a tough one, because again, it's a thing of uguti. Mental health is not seen as an actual thing. It's not seen as an actual problem or a disease. It's almost like I always try to explain mental health kanje kubantu, that if umuntu diagnosed ngokuthi une BP or une diabetes, the fact is that kumele aphuza amaphilisi okumele ajove. They need to do that in order to carry on sustaining their lives. So the same thing is true with mental health. We need to take antidepressants in order to be okay. So it's a problem that people don't understand what the the impacts of ignoring the whole idea behind what actually goes through a person suffering from mental health. If we're not only from the outside, because I mean it could get dangerous, like the person can take their own lives. So I think we just need to create more awareness around it and try find creative ways of getting people to engage. And also our parents don't get it now as well, so they really don't.
No shame.
They
don't, bless their hearts, but they don't.
Yeah, bless their hearts, they really don't. So even that, it shows what there's a trick, because there are even people in our age group that don't understand. Now, just because you haven't gone through something doesn't mean it's not a thing. Depression is not something you can just snap out of. It's not just be happy. You can't just be happy. If you could do that, you would do it, you know? So I think it's just creating more awareness around it and just validating abantu that are going through it. You are going through a real thing. It's okay.
Yeah.
And anything that takes away from the reality of what you are going through, umuntu also downplay. For me, I think it's best that you remove them. That's what I did personally. I just
keep it going. Yeah.
Arm's length. Yeah, because they add on to the stress. No, it's okay. And
so
I don't like that. I don't care.
Do you have anything that you would like to plug, that you want people to be aware of, your social media pages, your next projects that we need to support?
Okay, so child. No, but I haven't launched this, so I don't want to talk about it yet.
Okay, we're not gonna talk about it.
But my social media pages are on Facebook, Lucky Mthembu, and
I will tag
on
it.
Instagram. Yes, girl, do it. And then on Instagram, it's Lucky Mthembu _ZA.
Okay, and then YouTube?
Then Twitter, I'm a. Oh yes, child. How can I forget? You are a good person. You are a good person. So I have a YouTube channel where I talk about narcissism. It's called Breaking Chains with Lucky. I talk about narcissism. I talk about my healing process. I talk about healing. There are different types of narcissists in this world. After my first encounter with one, I was like, this is it. They're all crazy. Yeah, like this, can't you lo and behold, there's the quiet one.
There's levels to
chip at you. There's levels.
Yes. So it's your YouTube, it's your Instagram, it's your Facebook. That's where people can get a hold of you and hear more about your story and find out more about Lucky's project. Lucky, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Like, this was, I feel like it contributed to my therapy.
You know what?
Wow.
You know what? I need to send a bill to your medical aid.
Listen, send a girl to us.
So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lux.
Bye.
Goodbye. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notification buttons to get more on my podcast, Unfiltered, with me, Sihle Makhanya.